In 332 BCE, under a brilliant Mediterranean sky, Alexander the Great stood at the edge of the Nile Delta. He gazed out at the blue horizon and declared the founding of a city that would bear his name, Alexandria. But this would not be a city of temples and kings alone. No, it would be a crossroads of the world, a place where East met West, where Greek, Egyptian, African, and Persian ideas would collide and merge. From the very first stone, Alexandria was destined to be more than a city. It was a dream made of marble. When Alexander died, his empire splintered, but one of his generals, Ptolemy I, took control of Egypt. And he carried forward the grand vision, not just to rule, but to elevate the human mind. Under his rule, Alexandria became the beating heart of intellectual ambition. He ordered the construction of a library, not just a collection of books, but a repository of everything humanity had ever learned, ever dreamed, ever written. This would be the greatest library in the world, and it would belong to everyone. Beside the library, Ptolemy built the Mouseion, the Temple of the Muses. It was the world's first research institute. Scholars lived there, worked there, dined together, debated under the stars. It was a place of astronomy, medicine, poetry, philosophy, and experimentation. It wasn't just a place to store knowledge, it was a place to create it. This was the dawn of systematic science, born not in war rooms, but in sunlit courtyards and candlelit halls. Alexandria had a policy. Every ship that entered the harbor was searched. If it carried books, scrolls, or knowledge of any kind, it was confiscated. The scribes copied it, the original stayed. The copy was returned. Over decades, the scrolls poured in from Greece, Persia, Babylon, India, Africa. Philosophies, religious texts, maps, herbals, histories, all copied and cataloged. The library grew, perhaps to over 500,000 scrolls. It was the memory of the world, the fingerprint of every civilization. Within those walls, geniuses walked. Euclid wrote the elements, the foundation of geometry. Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference using only a stick, a shadow, and the sun. Herophilos studied the brain, understanding it as the seat of thought. Callimachus created the first library catalog system. Here the line between science and magic blurred, and then was redrawn by reason. The Mouseion didn't just preserve knowledge, it redefined it. But nothing lasts forever. In 48 BCE, civil war brought Julius Caesar to Egypt. Trapped by an enemy fleet, he ordered the docks burned to prevent pursuit. The fire spread, and some say it reached the library. Thousands of scrolls stored in nearby warehouses may have turned to ash. Was the entire library destroyed? Historians debate. Perhaps the main building survived. But one thing was certain, the fire had reached history itself. Some believe the library was rebuilt. Some say parts of it were scattered, hidden in private collections, duplicated in smaller archives, like the Serapeum. The damage was real, but not total. Knowledge, like fire, spreads. And for a time, Alexandria burned with thought once more. But the cracks had begun to show. The vision was no longer eternal. The fire had found its way in. Centuries passed. Rome became Christian, the old gods fell, and with them, the tolerance for pagan philosophy. What once was curiosity became heresy. In 391 CE, Emperor Theodosius I banned paganism. Temples were closed, statues shattered, books condemned. The Serapeum, once a sister library to the Great Library, was attacked and destroyed. Alexandria, once the beacon of all ideas, began to forget how to ask questions. Amidst the chaos, one light remained, Hypatia, a woman, a philosopher, a teacher. She studied the stars, taught mathematics, and kept alive the teachings of Plato. She stood as the last guardian of reason in a city turning on itself. But reason was no longer welcome. In 415 CE, a Christian mob, enraged by politics and fear, dragged Hypatia from her chariot. They stripped her, murdered her, burned her remains, and with her death, the last echo of the ancient world faded. After Hypatia's murder, the city shifted. Books vanished, scholars fled. The fragile bridge between reason and faith collapsed. Where the gods had once inspired inquiry, now fear dictated silence. The great shelves emptied, not from fire alone, but from neglect, from indifference, from the quiet war of forgetting. In the 7th century, Muslim armies conquered Egypt. Legend tells that the Caliph Omar was asked what to do with the remaining books of Alexandria. His reply, "If they agree with the Quran, they are unnecessary. If they disagree, they are dangerous." The scrolls, it said, were used to fuel bathhouse furnaces, burning for 6 months. Historians debate the truth of this tale, but the reality is clear. The scrolls were gone, and so the centuries passed. Empires rose and fell. Cities crumbled. Alexandria endured, but its soul was gone. The Mouseion disappeared from maps. Its scholars erased from memory. Its scrolls, the thoughts of millions, turned to dust. We don't know what we lost. The full plays of Euripides, the missing works of Aristotle, Babylonian star charts, African medical texts, Buddhist teachings carried west. The secrets of steel, of healing, of mathematics, gone. Whole lifetimes of thought cut off from ours. The world was smaller after the library burned, not because we knew less, but because we stopped remembering more. Today, we live in the age of information. Every book, every image, every word, a click away. We store terabytes in the cloud, build databases larger than any ancient library, but we are still vulnerable. We delete what offends us, we mistrust what challenges us, and we forget, not with fire, but with scrolls we never read, with questions we stop asking. The Library of Alexandria didn't fall in one moment. It died in pieces, burned by fire, drowned by war, buried by fear, and finally silenced by apathy. It teaches us this: knowledge is fragile, truth must be protected, and memory must be cherished. If we forget what happened, if we forget what was lost, we risk losing it again. The next fire may not need flames, it may only need silence. To forget the past is to burn the future. If you enjoyed this amazing story, please support this channel by leaving a like and hitting the subscribe button so you'll be the first to get notified when I drop new stories.